how all these things happen. But here, they offered strange fire. Strange fire. Dictionary. Their sin was presumption, disorder in the service of God. They used censers and incense apart from God's commandment. The occasion of sin was setting up the tabernacle. The preceding passage before that, it says the Lord commanded, as the Lord commanded. And we see that all throughout there, as the Lord commanded. It was supposed to be done. And yet they went their own way. Presumptuous sins, the Bible talks about. Presumptuous is failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriate. See, what they did wasn't permitted and it wasn't appropriate because it wasn't God's way. It's being, another presumptuous is being proud and lifted up, according to the dictionary. And so they had presumptuous sins and they took these things, and it comes from pride. I'm going to do it my way. I don't care what the boss says, even if it's God. You better look out. And God can judge today just as quickly as he did in the Old Testament. People don't think about that because they don't see it in practice in the world. They think, oh, nothing's going to happen. So they offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord, devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Quick, final, right there, they died before the Lord. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. Moses said, this is what God was talking about when he said, you do as I command you. And here, you know, your sons, don't grieve for them. It goes on here as we see that. And he says, your sons were slain by God because of disobedience. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. They took garments and didn't even apparently touch them, just took them and carried them, put them, laid them in that and carried them out of there. And Moses said unto Aaron, unto Eleazar, unto Ithamar his sons, that's more sons there, he says, uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die. Listen, he's saying, listen, if you take their side, you're going to die too. They were wrong before the Lord. They sinned, and God judged them and killed them. And whether they're your brothers or not, or your son, you better not weep for them. You better not say anything about them against God. Neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, and lest wrath come upon all the people. What, one sin can? Yeah, look at Achan when they were going into the promised land, and Achan sinned, and it caused the whole camp to have people die until it was straightened out. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord hath kindled. You bewail this and realize that, listen, this is of the Lord, and if you don't do what he says, this is what's going to happen. Ye shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle and congregation, lest ye die. For the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses. In other words, Aaron and these ones that were serving, they couldn't go out because they were commanded to be there 7 days, as they were ordained and consecrated to do. And so they did according to the word of Moses. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. So they were forbidden to take alcoholic beverages when they were in service to the Lord. Okay? So if they were serving, if they had a service coming up for this 7 days, they were forbidden to drink wine or strong drink. Now I think as we'll see next hour with Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, how they went in and they were doing all these wicked things, and they were probably drunken and all kinds of other things that went with the wickedness they did. We'll look at that next hour. Verse 10 now, that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. That's why you do these things. That's why you do what God says. Put a difference between, be separated, a difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. People should be able to see the difference in a Christian's life between the world and the Christian. That ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord had spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. So they needed to all be taught what Moses was, because God gave Moses, he was the spokesman to give to everybody else how to do it and what to do. Moses spake unto Aaron, unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar his sons that were left, take the meat offering that remaineth of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy. And ye shall eat it in the holy place, because it is thy due and thy son's due of the sacrifice of the Lord made by fire, for so I am commanded. So Moses commanded, tell him, okay, you eat this sacrifice now there at the altar, and in this presence you can't leave the camp, and so you now that's your due. That's what you get for all your work and everything. This is your substance, okay? And so he says, for so I am commanded. And the wave breast and heave shoulder shall ye eat in a clean place, thou and thy sons and thy daughters within, and they be thy due, and thy sons' due, which are given out of the sacrifices of peace offerings of the children of Israel. The heave shoulder and the wave breast shall they bring with the offering made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before the Lord, and shall be thine and thy sons with thee by a statute forever, as the Lord hath commanded. And so again, they get part of the peace offering that they take, and the wave offering, as I understand it, was where they would wave the meat, and certain portions, when it would fall off, was what they used as their portions. Always enough. And Moses, verse 16, and Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt, and he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, which were left alive, saying, wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy, and God hath given it to you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Lord? Why didn't they do it, and why didn't they die for it? That's a question, and hopefully we'll see the answer. Behold, the blood of it was not brought in within the holy place. Ye should indeed have eaten it in the holy place, as I commanded. And Aaron said unto Moses, behold, this day have thy offering, they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things have befallen me, and if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? And when Moses heard that, he was content. Aaron had a good excuse. And I think of the time, if you go in and check out Hezekiah's reign, and when they were preparing to have the Passover meal and all these things, the days of unleavened bread, and they were preparing for the feast, all the priests and the Levites were not sanctified. All the people weren't sanctified. And Hezekiah interceded to God at that point and asked to pardon them, because their hearts were right and they wanted to do what they could, but there wasn't time, they didn't get it all done, and God pardoned them. And I think that must be what happened here, that type of thing. Something that Aaron had done, he said, he told Moses, and such things have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, shouldn't it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? He knew that he wasn't worthy and ready to receive that sin offering, and so he didn't accept it. because he knew it wouldn't be acceptable on the side of the Lord. And so that's why he did what he did. And when Moses heard that, he was content. Well, obviously, it was something substantial because Moses was content with the answer and trusted the Lord had accepted him in doing what he had done and why he did it. I think, let's see. I'm just trying to think of, okay, and I've got that down there. Leviticus 7, verse 21 may have some bearing on this. When their peace offerings and things they were doing here, these are things, it says, moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of man, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto the Lord, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. So evidently Aaron had done one of these things. Something had defiled him, and it says, and it forbids him to eat of the peace offering or he's going to die. Isn't that what it says? And so that's, again, he was excused for his not doing the other because he would have died if he had eaten of the peace offering as Moses commanded him and his family. And so again, God is almost flexible and you know he's merciful, but how so? Because his heart was right, he knew he had been defiled and couldn't go on. He said, what did he say again back in chapter 10? He said, the offering in verse 19, behold, this day they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord. And that was good. And such things have befallen me. So something happened. One of these things that God says you're going to die for if you partake of this. And if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? So he didn't eat. He did right in obeying, even though things didn't go right to lead up to that point. But he obeyed what God had said, and God spared his life. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's what a wonderful God we have. And these were things laid out for us to learn from and realize that God is serious about serving him. He's serious about his people. And we see here what he has and expects of his people in the wilderness and in the tabernacle. And so that's what I'm trying to get you to see here. God's way in the sacrifice is the way he wants it. And God's way in the church is the way he wants it. And so we need to realize that God is the one that's in charge. He's the head of the church. And he's the one that lays out the guidelines for a church and how it's run and who's in it and all these things. And I'm thankful that everybody's here today. That, as far as I know, everyone has a testimony of salvation in Jesus Christ, and that's the way it should be. And so you need to know Jesus Christ and then be scripturally baptized when you can, and then follow the Lord and work for him. That's God's way in the church today. So we'll stop there, and then we'll continue on next hour. God's way in the sacrifice. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. And again, Leviticus 8:5, and Moses said unto the congregation, this is the thing which the Lord commanded to be done. You know, if we could just do that today. We were talking about, and I think we were talking about some of these crazy things going on in the world promoted by religious groups, by denominations, by people that should know better, by people that should have a Bible and know what it says. And listen, there are presumptuous sins, heresies, and wickedness going on in the name of Christianity today. how sad it is. Can you imagine God being pleased? No wonder our country and the world is under his judgment. And of course, the wrath is to come. I'm just glad that he's going to take his saints out of here before the great tribulation happens. So, what a blessing. Okay, God bless you. Fellowship together, and we'll continue on in a little while.